or something. Good evening, everyone. Yes, it's live uncut. I'm back. I was off last week because I had a business trip up in Liverpool. What a fantastic city Liverpool is. If you get a chance to go up there, it's just superb. Loads and loads and loads to do, especially the cavern to go and watch the cover groups playing the Beatles music. That's absolutely superb. But anyway, that was last week. This week, the show's a little bit different. If you're watching this live now, you'll see I've got 4 fantastic guests for me, new friends of mine, which I've met through the Arcanum. I've never done this before, so I'm a little bit more nervous than I think my 4 guests are here, really. I'm from the left, it's Greg, who's in Ireland. Hi, Greg.
How you doing?
Whereabouts in Ireland are you again? Just remind me.
I'm in County Kildare, just outside Dublin.
Lovely. Then we got Patricia, who's born in Brazil, but she lives in Edinburgh. Hi, Patricia.
I do not live in Edinburgh. I live in Glasgow.
Oh, I was close. There you go. First mistake of the evening. Glasgow. You're quite right. Yes, of course, Glasgow. Anyway, good evening to Patricia.
Good evening.
Susan, who's from Tennessee. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Paul.
And finally, Hugo, who is in Italy. He lives just outside Milan. Is that correct?
Correct.
And good evening to you, Hugo.
Good evening.
So just to let everyone know, how did we meet? We basically all applied to join the Arcanum, which is being run through Google Plus and set up by Trey Ratcliffe and his guys. And initially, I think around about 25 people were chosen by our master, as we call her, Valerie Jardin. And we're on now basically a course of learning how to improve our street photography. And it's an interesting process, I think, to say the least, because not only are we being critiqued by Valerie, but my work is being critiqued by these guys as well, which is really, really good, because we're all coming up with great ideas. So what I'd like to do first off is just very, very briefly, your experiences, guys, as what you've seen so far of the Academy. I'd just like to hear what you've got to say about it. So start off with Hugo. How have you found it, Hugo?
Well, you should maybe start with me last, because I was probably the last one to join.
That's why I've asked you first.
I wasn't in the initial selection, then somebody dropped out and I was asked to jump in. So for me, it's been like 3 weeks been in there. So far, I find it great. I'm ramping up my levels, and it's nice. Still at the beginning. Still going to see what's going to where it's going to evolve, where it's going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Susan, how have you found the Arcanum yourself? Have you are you enjoying it?
Yes, you know, I am, Paul. I love the opportunity to have our hangouts with people from literally all over the world, and I think one of the best parts and one of the most difficult parts are the critiques, because I think we were all, when we first started out, we just, you know, like, we were really uncertain as to, you know, the critique process and how honest should we be with each other, and
yeah,
I think that was a great learning process, and the discussions that we've had, and I feel it's really invaluable. I really do.
Yeah, I quite agree with you on that. That's a very good point you make, actually. And Patricia, how are you finding things?
Well, I'm really enjoying Arcanum, and when I joined in, I thought, okay, I want a challenge, and this will be a real challenge, and this will be an opportunity that I'll receive real criticism, not only from the master that has an extensive experience in the subject that I really like, but then with the apprentices that they have different experiences and they will have eyes different from mine. So that's what I was interested in when I joined in, to have like critical analysis in my work. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm still not 100% happy with what I've achieved so far, but that I'm sure that it's because of me. I need to go out more and I need to shoot more, but it's like, it's been a huge learning process as well. I think it's really valuable.
Yeah, so far the 3 comments have been quite exactly what I think about the Arcanum, to be honest with you. Greg, finally bringing up the rear end, so to speak. Your thoughts and comments about the Arcanum and what you've experienced.
Yeah, I suppose I very much echo what everybody else has been saying there. Maybe to go on a little bit, I suppose one of the good things for me personally has been I've really enjoyed the tasks and the challenges that have came along. It's really, as just I said, forced me to get out and shoot more, and I've really been looking for new places to shoot, new experience to have with the street photography. So that's been very much a bonus, especially at the times where you're maybe not quite in the mood for photography, you're feeling a bit lazy, but because you've got this challenge, you really need to get out and shoot more, and that's been really good for me. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the things that came across to me, there was one particular time you were at home in Brazil, Patricia, and you posted the fact that you were struggling a little bit with going out and getting some shots, and I know I made a comment to you, just sort of just get out there and try something different. And what I was really pleased was how many people from our cohort, as it's called, like a class, how many people responded to your comment, and I'm hoping we all helped you through.
Oh, definitely, yes. Because it was like unbelievable. I was thinking, oh, what I'm doing? It seems that I don't have love for photography anymore. And very recently it happened again. But then when I think about my circumstances, I know, okay, it wasn't like me. It was what was happening around me, and I was just not in the correct mood for photography. That is amazing how it intervenes. So
I think this is one aspect, in actual fact, which is a spin-off, basically, from our learning curve, where I don't know whether you guys read when we first started. I saw better street photography in the first 4 or 5 days than I had done in 5 years of being a member of my local camera club. And the comments that were coming through from everyone involved was, I thought, this is just great. This is where I want to be. I don't want to go along to a club and have a single shot judged. And because the guy prefers floral or landscape photography, he's just going to sort of say, I don't like street photography, and moving on. That doesn't help me at all. So being centralized into a group which is concentrating on this one aspect is really fantastic. Let's just start talking now really about why street photography. Why did you guys? How can I put this? How did you guys find street photography? What sort of led you to say that's what I want to do and that's what I want to improve in? Greg, what was your first initial move into street photography?
I mean, for me, I suppose it really started with travel photography. I was going away to foreign countries, seeing some really fantastic places in the world. And when I came back, I had lots of pictures of fantastic landscapes, so fantastic buildings, architecture, culture. But I kind of really felt my photography was lacking something and missing something. And eventually, it kind of started to click to me as what I was missing was really people, the kind of locals. And when I started introducing that into my travel photography, it kind of completed the picture, and I was a lot more satisfied with the photography. So I suppose from there, I just brought it back home, and then just started moving out on the streets of Dublin and around where I live. And I mean, for me, street photography, I love the variety of it. There's something different every time you go out there. You don't have to shoot people; you can shoot, I don't know, but like say buildings, architect. You can go more abstract. You can go portrait. There's just so much to work with when you're out there, and that's why I love it. Yeah,
I think one of the Hugo, who joined us, as he explained, later than us, because of one guy dropped out. When I first saw Hugo's work, it's just fantastic travel photography. That's how I would term your work, Hugo. But there's a very, very strong element of street photography in it. When did street photography start for you, Hugo? Is it like Greg, a sort of a spin-off from travel photography?
For me, yeah. In part, yes. In part, it's due to gear. Right. It started 1 year ago, I think, because I got myself a small, lightweight camera that I could carry with me everywhere, which everybody says it's perfect for street photography.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, why not try to do street photography with that camera? So it was much of an opportunistic choice for me. It was not driven by other considerations. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I find I'm asking myself tougher questions, maybe, like why street photography? Why should we do street photography? What's the purpose of it? And I have this suspicion, this doubt that what many people do street photography, and especially people who do street photography and share their pictures socially on Google Plus, Facebook, and other places. I'm afraid many of them haven't considered why they should be doing street photography. What is the purpose? I'm afraid many people do street photography because it's hip, because it's cool, because it lets you pretend you're shooting people and not caring about what they think. And people aren't asking themselves questions, and I'm afraid I'm starting to ask myself questions. I'm afraid I don't have the answers yet.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big learning curve. Susan, how about yourself? When were you caught by the street photography bug?
Well, very similar to what happened to Greg. We got back from a trip, and I looked at my pictures, and they were really flat and boring, and they were. And I thought, I was so dissatisfied. I thought, well, what am I missing? And ironically, I saw an article written by Valerie on DPS about travel photography and everything, and I thought, well, and I didn't know Valerie at the time, and so I looked her up, and I found her website and saw her street photography, and I started looking more and more, and I thought, this is very interesting. And then she had a workshop, and so I signed up for her workshop, and so I had never done street photography until I did Valerie's first workshop, and then I was hooked.
And where was that workshop, Susan?
Well, lucky for me, it was in Paris. So
fantastic! Right, yeah.
Combination, right? Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's one of the most picturesque cities I think that Europe has to offer. It is quite amazing when you. I'm very fortunate myself because I travel around Europe quite a bit, and Paris is something special. Paris, indeed. Patricia. Where did your love of street photography start? Was it when you went to Glasgow, or did you have your interest in photography before you came to our lovely sunny shores?
No, my interest for street photography came like about 10 years after I had moved to Glasgow, or even more actually. It's been recently, and what happened is I always like people. I love people. And I like essence of life. I pay attention to emotions and expressions and everything. So what happened to me when I moved to Glasgow is that I thought that there was such a diversity, such different people and atmosphere, brilliant and everything. So I just used to go to, I'm not a party person, but I used to go to Byers Road or to city center just for me to sit and being observing people. And then once I'm taking my camera, and I just took my camera and I took one shot, and I arrived home, and I looked, and I just loved the shot. Technically, it's a terrible shot, but the amount of things that was happening in that shot, and I want street photography now. I want to be in that and being able to see things happening and as they happen. Yeah. So now that I have found my love for street photography, I just want to be able to capture the real essence of life that I still haven't been able to, but I want to reach that stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're quite right. Actually, I'll give you a little example that happened with me just last week. I was walking through the streets of Liverpool. My wife had gone in to do some shopping, and I was just walking around taking some photographs. Loads of little buskers around, guys playing the guitars and dancing and all sorts of stuff going on. Absolutely fantastic. And then out of the blue, out of totally nowhere, came two girls, around about 24, 25, pushing their prams with their babies, and they had rollers in their hair. And I was so shocked. I'm so annoyed with myself. I couldn't get the camera to my eye quick enough to take the photograph of these two. And I was talking to a lady. I bumped into this lady in a camera shop, as you do, and I said, I can't get over this. I said, I've just seen two girls walking with the rollers in there. She said, that's a very Liverpool thing. That the girls, basically what they do, they get their hair ready for the night out in the morning. They then go out shopping to find the dress. They're all got their makeup on and everything. They get the dress, go home, change, and they're out. And it's such a Liverpool thing. And I just picturing back what Patricia's just said. That is life, and I'm so annoyed. I got one photograph, not a very good one on my iPhone, but yeah, that's the study of seeing these things happen where you just want to capture that rather than, as Greg, and exactly what I did when I started my street photography, taking a photograph of some architecture which at the time interests you in its abstract value, but bringing the people into it adds to it. Interesting that Hugo really got into street photography because of a camera. And moving on to the next basic subject, which I wanted to talk about, gear now. So Hugo, I'm guessing you're a Fuji X100S user, is that right?
Right.
What was the reason for you to buy that camera?
Honestly, hearing and seeing so many people extolling the virtues of that camera made me want to try it. I tried briefly because a friend had one, and I said, I had a DSLR at the time. I wanted to upgrade my DSLR, but then I started eyeing that camera, and I said, well, instead of upgrading my DSLR, which means getting a bigger, faster, more expensive one, which will let me take exactly the same pictures I was taking before, why not get a completely different kind of camera, which will let me take more and different pictures? So I wanted something as different as possible from the classic DSLR, and that's why that was the main reason, to get something different.
And is that the camera you're using all the time now, or do you switch back to your DSLR?
No, I sold my DSLR. I got another Fuji. I got the XE2 instead.
Lovely.
When I'm doing street, I alternate between the X100S and the XE2.
So you got your 23mm on your X100S, and what lens have you got on your XE2?
I'm mostly using the 35.
35, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lens. Yeah.
Sometimes the choice of which one to use comes down to whether I'm walking or cycling.
Right. Okay.
I'll tell you why. The X100S, I got it with a neck strap. Okay.
Okay.
So if I'm cycling, it's not very comfortable to use. The XE2, I got a Black Rapid strap, one that goes across here, and you can have it hanging from your side, from your back, and then so when I'm cycling, this is perfect because it will not dangle in front of me.
Yeah.
So
like a bit of a gunslinger.
Not for any other specific reason, just this.
I used to have a Black Rabbit, but I when I got rid of all my DSLR gear, pretty much the same as what you did, I let it go with the DSLR equipment. I just use a wrist strap connected to my Fuji XE1 is what I use. Susan, how about yourself? What equipment are you using?
Well, I started with the Canon 5D Mark II, and I used that with the little pancake, the 40mm pancake. And then I got the Fuji.
You got the Fuji.
For the same, it's so compact, it's so lightweight, it does everything that I need, and I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Did you get the Fuji after you saw it with Valerie, or was that one of the reasons, or did you have it before you went on the workshop with Valerie?
No, I got it after, and when I first met her, she didn't have hers yet either.
Oh, right.
And so. But just like Valerie, everyone that had it was just crazy about it. And so And you just when you travel, you really want things that are compact, that are easy to pack, and
Exactly right.
when they're weighing every little thing,
Well, exactly. They weigh every little thing that you travel on. When you do fly, and I think also my attitude is you end up carrying a bag round of just in case gear. That's what I call it. You've got a bag behind you with, maybe if you are a DSLR user, you've probably got a 7300 in there, probably a 35, a 50 mil, and probably a kit lens like an 1855 on your camera. I found, shall I switch to the 35 mil or shall I switch to the 50 mil? And I was just getting totally confused with what gear to be using. And it wasn't until I saw the Zach Arias and Dave Hobby items on the X100S. I chose the XE1 because I wanted the possibility of interchangeability of lenses in the future, but that hasn't materialized. I've only got the two lenses, 27 mil and the 1855, and I'm using the 27 mil more and more now, mainly because of the way the Arcanum is forcing me to go that route, to get closer. And I think this is one thing that these cameras make you do. To be good at street photography, you've got to get in close. Patricia, what gear are you using, my love?
Can you recognize my beauty?
Olympus OMD. Lovely.
It's the EMD one. I used to have Canon.
Yeah.
But I was suffering and my wrist was getting damaged and therefore, like, I really like street photography. There is no point for Canon anymore. Okay, that I have my commission work sometimes, but Olympus is great.
Have you still got the Canon? Have you sold that?
No, I sold it. So now I only have the EMD one. And I didn't have a full frame DSLR. And I was thinking to upgrade to one, but then I thought, for me to have a full DSLR, I have to have the best lenses possible, the glass ones. That is just a fortune. And it's amazing how these little guys here and these lenses are superb. And they are much better than the kit lens ones that come with Canon. So I'm quite happy with it. And it's like with a bag more or less this size, I can travel with 5 lenses in my camera.
Yeah.
So it's been brilliant. And normally I use the 20 millimeters one.
Right, okay.
On this slip.
So we're all getting down to lower end, as I call it, wide angle lens cameras, 14 up to 50 mil max by the sound of things. How about yourself, Greg? What's your gear?
Yeah, similar story here. I started off with the Canon 550D, and I was at the stage where I was ready to upgrade the body, and I'd been hanging on for Canon to upgrade the 7D, and it had been promised, and it's coming and coming. I got a bit fed up, and I wasn't willing to make the jump to the full frame. I would have to replace a couple of lenses as well, and all of a sudden the cost was going way up and way up. And I think it was eventually Frederick Van Johnson on Twitter just wore me down. He just kept on going on about these great little cameras. So I went the same way as Patricia, and I got the Olympus OMD EM1,
You got the OMD,
which is I'm just absolutely over the moon with it. It's a brilliant little camera. I mean, I still got my Canon. I kept the 550D in one lens, just because I do landscape as well. So I wanted that ultra. I like the ultra wide look, so I kept the 550D in a 10 to 20 mil lens for that. But the rest of the time, it's now Olympus for every other bit of work I'm going to do.
So when you guys go out now, this is an open question to all of you. When you go out, are you taking, like me, one camera, one lens, or are you going out one camera and a lens with maybe a bag of a couple of other lenses?
Well, if I'm at home, like, let us say, Great Britain, I try to think what I'm going to take photos of. So I just go with one camera and one lens. Unless if I go abroad, for instance, then I take all my bag, so I can choose. But then on a daily basis, I always choose one lens, and then I go out with one lens. And one camera.
Susan, well, obviously with the X, you're fixed lens, aren't you? So you got your 23 mil, and that's it.
Well, I'm sticking with that. I do that, and then I have my iPhone. I use that a lot.
Lovely. And that's it. Have you looked at these adapters which can now fit onto the X100S? You've got an adapter. I think it takes it down to 14 mil, and there's another one which boots it up to around about, I think, 55, 56 mil. Have you seen those at all in the States?
No, I haven't.
They're quite expensive when you consider what they're really doing. They're about 350 sterling, so that's what they're about $500. But I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and he loves using wide angle, likes to going down to 10 and the 14 mil end. So he's got the Fuji X100S with this 14 mil adapter, which just literally screws onto the front of your 23 mil lens. But in saying that, then we start getting down to basically having a camera bag, don't we? And really, to a degree, we want to be as conspicuous as possible being street photographers and not have a huge bag on our backs. Hugo, obviously, do you always, when you're going on a street photography trip, a route or something, or a walkabout, probably a better word to use, do you always take the XE2 and the X100S, or do you decide on one camera?
Not always. I was in Basel, Switzerland for 2 days this week for work, and I put into the bag together with the laptop. I only brought my X100S. This morning I went out in my city and I put in my bag both cameras, even the XE2, but with just the 35. So I would very often go out with 2 cameras, but 1 lens each, no extra lenses.
Okay, so that's interesting, because I came across this idea of 1 camera, 1 lens myself after having this bag of just-in-case gear, as I've said before, and I must be honest, when I made that change and concentrated on keeping my equipment simple.
Well, one thing I do, like I did this morning, I went out to buy some bread and milk.
Yeah.
So I brought my bag with me.
Yeah.
And this one, I use it not just for cameras, but also for putting the milk in.
Exactly right.
So it has space for a carton of milk and 2 cameras. And I have the bag anyway. So I said, okay, there's free space, I'll put another camera in that.
That's another word for a camera bag, a shopping bag. Yeah, exactly right. So, so getting back to the street photography now, what do you really, when you're doing street photography, Greg, what do you really enjoy taking in the street?
I like just capturing moments. I really like it when I see somebody walking down the street and for whatever reason that person catches my eye, be it an expression, a gesture, or even fashion, something that the person's wearing, something just, like say, it grabs my attention immediately, and I just know I want to get that shot, I want to photograph that person. I mean, I suppose on the flip side, everything I do like is what Valerie would call a stage, so I find a nice backdrop and I just sit and wait for the right person to walk through the scene and to get the two together to make sure they fit together, or they ever contrast, or they blend in with each other. So that's the kind of things I always look for.
Yeah. How about yourself, Patricia? What's your real favourite from street photography?
Well, my real favorite is to grab those feelings that you can absorb through the photography. Yeah. Although I'm still not able to do that, probably don't know how many photographs I've taken, and probably 1 or 2, but it's like, my favorite is where I can see emotions and great expressions.
Yeah. How about yourself, Susan?
Well, same thing. Just you want to find that emotion, that expression. Some of my most memorable moments involve music and children. And when there's a street performer and little tiny ones, and when they just are so lost in the music and are dancing around everything, it's just, little magical moments like that. That are really
I experienced a lot of that in Liverpool this last week. Loads of buskers around doing some fantastic talent music they were producing. And it's really just a pleasure. I always put a coin, a £1 coin in the bucket there, and then they don't mind you taking photographs. If you have a tendency to sort of take a couple of sneaky ones, then they tend to sort of get a little bit sort of fed up with you taking the photos. How about yourself, Hugo? I get the impression that you like strong colour.
Yeah,
Am I
for a
right?
change this week, I tried to only shoot in black and white.
No, I mentioned that because of your photographs when
Yeah.
when your first set for presentation to Valerie, where you did those fantastic shots of Marrakesh with the blue alley and the guys working in the leather. I'm going to call them leather tubs because I don't exactly know what they were, but I got the impression there was I got the impression you really like strong color.
I do like strong color. I like black and white too.
Yeah. And is there a real personal favorite at all?
No, I'm a beginner in this endeavor. I'm trying to understand what I like and still haven't found it. Most of all, I'm consciously trying to avoid the cliches, which is not easy because in itself, even avoiding cliches can be a form of cliche. But I see a lot of cliches in photography, and avoiding them is hard. And I'm trying to find something meaningful to shoot, but defining what is meaningful is very hard.
I think one of the problems I find with street photography is the fact that a lot of what we're doing is obviously been photographed before in terms of style. You know, as you guys know, my favourite street photographer is Sol Leiter, and the way that he developed photographs with layers, and it's so difficult to. So I'm going to try and do that myself, but you can't do it because basically you haven't got the skill at the end of the day. But there's so many different styles that basically the old masters have done before that, as you say, you can cause a problem by the cliche of taking a photograph of someone. Someone will look at, I've seen something like that before, it's been done by so-and-so and so-and-so, and it goes on. I suppose really the same applies with landscape photography and any type of photography, because photography has been around for quite a considerable length of time now, and it's very difficult to find something totally new to shoot. What would you say, we'll start with Greg, what would you say, Greg, that you would not want to shoot? Where do you start getting uncomfortable?
I have no set rules, maybe more principles. I tend not to shoot people in vulnerable situations. I think you have to kind of be smart about it. You have to really go off your gut instinct. If it doesn't feel right, put the camera down, walk away. I mean, and nowadays, children is a bit of a no-go area. People tend to get very worked up about you taking photographs of children. So it's not to say that I don't do it, but sometimes the need to take the shot actually takes over that kind of fear. But it's, as I say, you just have to be slightly just smart about it and common sense. Apply the common sense and don't put yourself in situations where you're going to get into danger. If somebody gets upset, just be prepared to walk away or even delete the photo, format the card. So,
Patricia, yourself. Where do you start to get uncomfortable when you're out taking some street photographs?
This one is a difficult one. Well, whenever I spend some time not taking photographs, I feel uncomfortable trying to get near people and take their photos. But it's like I don't take photos of homeless people. Although there are brilliant photographs out there, but I just don't feel right. And it's my opinion, and I don't blame the others by doing that, but I just don't feel okay doing that because I think, well, I'm here taking photograph of this guy that is completely like, forgot the word now, kind of completely lost and unlucky with life in a way, so why am I doing that? So it's me, so I just don't feel comfortable at all. Although sometimes it's like you see a very strong expression there, but I just don't take it.
No, I have taken a couple of shots of homeless, and I must be honest, after I've taken it, I thought, was there any point to that? I've got a couple on my Lightroom that I've been thinking about putting into my next level, but I don't feel right about it, to be honest with you, because If I get the impression that sometimes I'm profiteering from their unfortunate situation. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
It's exactly.
But then again, when someone sets out to do a project on homeless for a purpose, and then of course it brings in a total different aspect of street photography, that photojournalistic part, which is important.
Definitely, I agree with that. Many if you're able to talk and then find out how the person got in that state as well, but I'm not.
Very true. Yeah, very true. That's a good point. How about yourself, Susan? Do you find yourself in any difficult situations out there shooting? Or is there anything that you would say you definitely don't take?
Well, like you, I won't photograph homeless people. I think that's, that doesn't need to be part of what I'm trying to do right now, because I'm not out there for any journalistic reason or anything.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like if the person that is in my photograph, if I felt that if they were to see the shot and be uncomfortable with it, then I just want to take that shot. I guess it's something that if I couldn't show the person the shot I just took, then I wouldn't include that either. And as far as photographing children, I'll usually get permission, either a nod or verbal or something. And I've been through that times in which you can totally understand, but I am careful with children and want to get that permission first.
Yeah, it's one of those things in this day and age we live in. You have to be very careful with children involved. I mustn't forget one question I want to ask you, business cards, but before I've just chuck that one in there so I know that to remember to ask the question. Hugo, do you get to a situation where there's that you're uncomfortable taking a photograph in a particular situation?
Absolutely, I share completely what you said. I normally I don't shoot homeless, beggars, disabled people, any people which are not in a situation that I would to find myself maybe. But I do think that those kind of photographs have a value. If you mean street photography as a form of social documentary, then that is important. And there are many masters of street photography who did that, and it's important. But at this time, for what I'm doing street photography because it gratifies myself. Right? Yeah. And as long as I'm doing because it gratifies myself, I don't want to exploit other people's situations for my gratification. If I were doing it for a social purpose, I would probably think different. But at the moment, I'm no.
Yeah, I think you get. Sorry.
Just one instance when I took a portrait. I asked a person on the street to take a portrait of him, and then we started a conversation, and he told me he lost his job and he needed help if I knew somebody who could give him a job. But I couldn't, but I published this photograph and I told his story, and I think that was respectful. But that was basically the only situation that happened.
That's a nice touch, actually, to publish a photograph and write the story on a blog, and so doing a little bit of photojournalistic work there by putting it out. Interesting that Hugo mentioned about taking a portrait of someone. I'm finding this really difficult. I'll be honest. I'm okay if I'm in a group of guys walking about. There's a guy there I want to take a photograph and do that and ask them. But when I'm on my own, I'm still finding it difficult to cross that line. How are you finding that yourself? Because one tip that's been given to me is to get some cards printed out with my One Camera One Lens web address on and my name and an email address, and then once you've taken that photograph, you give the guys the card to give it some sort of credibility, for want of description. Have you had any problems crossing that line in taking the street portrait? Patricia, let's go to you first.
Well, it's funny. Here in UK, I still feel lots of difficulties. Like I had chances and I was unable to ask. While in Brazil, I didn't have any problems at all. I think it's because there I am in my natural habitat.
Yeah.
And I know how people are. So I just go and it's like I don't even talk to them. I play with them. So it's so much easier. So I still have to cross the barrier here in UK.
Yeah.
As much as I feel at home here and comfortable, I'm still kind of a stranger.
Yeah.
I have to.
Susan, how about yourself crossing that line, taking the street portrait? Are you having any problems with that, or?
Well, this is, my husband would just laugh at this question because I'm basically a pretty quiet and shy person, and I don't know why, but I'm fine with this. And what I'll try to do.
Are you?
I know it makes absolutely no sense, but first I figure out why does this person intrigue me? Why would I want their picture? And then I'll go up and I'll start a conversation. It might be what they're wearing, it might be just a look that they have or something, and I'll just go up and just bring that into the conversation. And I do have some little cards made up, and I've used those, and I really don't get turned down very often, to be honest with you.
Do you know, that really surprises me, actually, because out of the four of us here, you would be the one that I would put my last dime on to say, Susan's the one that can't cross the line.
I know, and my husband just stands back with his mouth down to his knees. You know, he goes, "Who is this person? You know, I've been with you for a million years, and I've never." And I don't know. I feel empowered with the camera in my hands, and I just, you know, I thought, oh, what's the worst that can happen? They say no.
Well, this is you know, I'm going to remember this now. Next time I go out on street photography and I want to take a photograph and say, well, if Susan can do it, I can. But you see, the power of the camera it is quite amazing, isn't it? And I'm coming to you in a minute, Greg, but I can fully understand what Patricia's saying. Taking photographs in Glasgow, a little bit difficult for her, obviously, because she's from another country. Yet when she goes home, total familiarity, not a problem. And this is what I experienced last week. I know this sounds stupid, but I found it really difficult to go up to people. I did, but I didn't take photographs of them, of people in Liverpool. But when I'm in London, I feel a little bit more sort of relaxed, and conversations do develop a little bit more easier for me there. It's and we're only talking, what, 4.5, 5 hours drive away. It's quite amazing. Greg, have you got any problems crossing the line, as I say?
I do it. It's something that doesn't come naturally to me. It's very much something that's not in my personality. But it's, again, if I see the person and I need that photograph, I'll go that extra yard to try and get it. So I mean, I suppose over the years I've developed a few sort of standard lines or phrases that I would use to explain what I'm doing and why I would like to photo. Sorry. And as you mentioned, I have actually got these little cards done recently from Moo. I don't know if you'll see these, but
Raise.
Put
it up in front of the camera. Moo.com.
Moo.com. So these are the mini business cards ones. So
lovely.
The great thing about these is you can have as many different pictures as you want on the front, and then obviously you can get all your details on the back. And they're kind of small enough that I've got a little like pocket in my camera strap that I've got 4 or 5 of these. So they're always with me with my camera. So if I ever need them, they're there. Yeah. I've never used them so far, but it's nice to have that little kind of backup comfort thing in your pocket with you.
I got some done with Vista, which is just like a business card, quite honestly, with my logo on the front and my photograph on the back and the like, and they're with me all the time. I've yet to use them, but I intend to do it because I think it is a as I say, substantive. That's the wrong word to use. It gives you some form of credibility if someone is querying, why are you taking the photograph of me? You know, what's so interesting about me, so to speak. How about yourself, Hugo? Any problems fronting it up, taking a photograph of someone?
Lots. As you might know, I've been doing this project since the beginning of this year, which I call Stranger Day. So the plan was to ask every day to go up to a stranger and ask to take his portrait. And I've relaxed it a bit because I've been doing the Arcanum and I've been doing other stuff. So the last few weeks I haven't been keeping up, but I've taken at least 140 stranger portraits.
Okay.
I've asked for more because I've got my share of no's. And I have to tell you, it's as difficult as it was on day one. You think that after having asked 200 people, can I take your portrait, please, it would have become easier? No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, no. And what's your target? 365, or have you set a target for your?
No,
365 is your
target at 365.
Wow.
But
So
lately, I've been relaxing. I've been not going out. At the beginning, I was going out, especially with the purpose, saying today I need my portrait for today. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just doing, okay, I'm going out, I'm taking photos. If I see somebody interesting, I will ask to take his portrait, but I will not agonize over it. So I'm taking a bit.
So it's interesting that the business card is something which a lot of us would obviously. I'm looking around for a pen because I've got a question I want to ask you guys, and I don't want to forget it. But just don't let me forget, right? Don't let me forget. It's about cities. So if I say, what was that question I was going to ask? It's cities. But no, using the business card is a good way of breaking the ice and getting to know people on when you're out shooting and talking to someone as well. Like Susan has said, if you've got that, I'm going to use the word bottle, to go up to someone and say, "Can I take your photograph?" Then good on you. You know, it's great. Something which I'm really going to try next week.
Sorry, I'm finding that business cards, I got mine from Move too, but I don't use them as a means to start a conversation.
Yeah,
I might give them at the end. What I'm planning to do, what I'm doing right now is I'm going around with a stack of portraits of people that I've taken.
Right. Okay. So
they're not very easy to use. What I'm planning to do is to print a small booklet and use that, because the business cards, they're mostly landscapes. So why are you taking a photo of me? Oh, because I'm a landscape photographer. It doesn't really work.
No,
instead, why are you taking a photo of me? Because I'm doing a project which involves taking portraits of strangers, and this is the result of that work. It's a beautiful booklet with your photo in it, and when it's finished, if you want, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
I think that would work much better.
Let me just show you something. In the National Portrait Gallery in London, you can buy these. This is an A5. Can I get in the camera? I'll put it back here a bit. It's an A5 book, and it's basically a sketch pad.
Like this one?
And you've got one as well, Hugo. What I've done is, and I'm going to do this. These are my art photography, which I muck about with from time to time when I'm fed up doing some street. So, and I've just created this as a book. I haven't gone to Blurb or anything like that to get it printed, and I think that's a very cheap. That book cost me £6 in the National Portrait Gallery, and then they're printed off on the A5 gloss paper straight on an Epsom, straight out of my printer. So you saying about the book has given me a lovely tip there. I think I've got another one of these books. I'm going to start building up a portfolio of portraits, street portraits. Yeah, Greg, were you going to say something when you were talking earlier on?
And I was just going to mention the business cards, and I think you said that anyway. What I like them for is for the reason when you were searching around for the pen there, it's like, well, that happens out in the street. If you get into that part of the conversation, you say to the person, well, look, I can send you a copy of the photo, or instead of going, well, give me your email address and I'll send it to you, you just give them your card, get in contact with here, all my details here if you want a copy. Right. So that's why I like them. But what I was going to ask, your book, was that just, are they stuck in with adhesive, or is it the little plastic corners that they're stuck in with?
No, it's double-sided tape.
Yeah.
Just simply top and bottom, and I've just lined it up by eye, effectively.
No, it looks really good. So
that's a great idea. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
So you don't have to worry about getting and sort of planning your book out in Blurb and the like to do that. But well, we're all giving each other tips here. I wonder if Valerie's watching. We've got some viewers watching. I wonder if Valerie's watching. We'll put a copyright on it so no one can do that. Hey, how about that? Copyright the Arcanum cohort group, street photography group. Let's talk cities. Where would you love to go and photograph that you haven't been to yet? Susan, you're the traveler here. You're the one that...
Well, I have to say I will be in Barcelona in September, and so I'm really looking forward to that because I know that they have great street art.
Fantastic.
That's wonderful sight.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that a lot.
All I would say about Barcelona, and what's the name of the main street there, Greg?
Las Ramblas.
Las Ramblas. When you go up Las Ramblas, you've got loads of guys, statues, making the things, making the movement when people give them money. Just watch your back pocket, okay? There's a lot of pickpockets along that street, but great opportunities. Superb city. Sagrada La Familia, the cathedral there is just amazing. I was there, must have been about 5 years ago, and they were really struggling to get this church finished, but apparently, you've been there as well, Hugo. I've got one with the cranes as well, but the cranes aren't there anymore. They've nearly finished the thing finally.
No, the cranes were there. I took this one in March.
Oh, right, okay.
The cranes
Someone must have cloned them out then. But amazing cathedral, the Sagrada. Then, of course, you got the park up on the hill.
Park Güell.
Park Güell is superb, absolutely superb. You're going to have a great time, Susan. So that's your place, but you're going there. So a place that I can't count that one. I'm sorry. You're going to have to give me another place you'd like to go.
Okay, a place that I would love to go is not just. I would love to go to India. I have never been there, but I would like to go to India, and the other place is Cuba. I love color, and both of those just would do it for me. Yeah.
I'm very fortunate in my line of business. I have been to Delhi, and I went down to Agra to see the Taj Mahal. I wasn't into street photography at the time. I was just basically enjoying architectural type travel photography, for want of description. And I see my photographs that I took when I went to Delhi and down to Agra, and I look and I think, the opportunities that I missed, it's quite amazing. So it's a how kind of you're pulled in Delhi and Agra. You can see those that have got so much money and those that haven't, and there doesn't appear to be anything down the middle. And you do stop and question why people are living in such as bad conditions in this day and age. But I hope you get there, actually, Susan, because it's an awesome place. Patricia,
yes.
Where would you love to go? But
I would love
to take photographs. Love to go, but you've never been to take photographs.
Nepal?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that place. Yes.
I think that place would be wonderful to take some photographs there.
Yeah.
My husband is lucky because he's climbed there, so...
Has he?
Yes, but by the time I didn't even know him, thanks God. But I would love to go there to take street photography there.
Yeah. Perhaps when the daughter's around about 18 or 19 and she's at university, you can get away. What do you think?
But then I'll be in sticks.
No, you won't. No, you won't. Hugo, how about yourself? Hugo, how about yourself? Where would you? You've been to some exotic places already. Whereabouts would you really love to go?
For street or in general?
So, this is a street photography show, so it's got to be on street places.
Say Hong Kong.
Oh yes.
Right, okay, Hong Kong. Yeah, that could be pretty interesting. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go there. Sorry.
Yeah, I just saw David Hobby just released his first travel photography course on lynda.com, and the first episode was about Hong Kong. And he traveled to Hong Kong with only the X100S.
The X100S, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's just an amazing camera. It really is. Greg, how about yourself? Where would you love to go?
Oh, so many places. I have to say, I've been fortunate enough to be to Hong Kong, and it's probably one of my favourite cities in the world. It is a truly amazing place. So it's such a mixture of sort of old and new, and then you've got the whole English and Chinese thing as well. So it is such a great city to go to. I'm kind of struggling for inspiration. I mean, again, I've been to New York and I've been to Paris, and I love those two cities, and I'd love to go back there. I suppose on my radar, again, it's not hugely street, but I would love to go to Namibia. In particular, I would love to do it with Martin Bailey and his workshop. So I mean, I suppose there is some aspects of the street there, because you do go and you go into these little villages and places like that where you are doing kind of more kind of street type photography and a bit of portraiture. So I would love to do that.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Greg, because Hugo did say earlier on he's going to have to make a move. So you're going to hang around for 5 more minutes, Hugo, or you're going to go now?
I think I'll have to go like in even earlier than 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, thanks for popping in, and just basically as you when you're ready to go, just effectively drop out, Hugo. But thanks so much for joining the show. I'm going to say it to you only once: leave your camera bag at home. But I'll leave it to the final show to everyone when we finish up. So thanks for joining us, Hugo.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
No problem at all. And we'll obviously be in touch through the Arcanum and sure, chatting away as we do about everyone's images and the like. So coming back to you, Greg. Sorry, where you were saying you'd love to go to where? Sorry.
Namibia, yeah.
Right, okay. Any particular reason Namibia? Because it's not something which would immediately scream off the map at me, to be honest with you.
Again, I think I mentioned Martin Bailey there, and I've seen photographs of his tours in the past, and it's just blown me away, some of the photos he's came back with. So, and again, it's very much a mixture as well. You've got a bit of wildlife. You've got, like, say, I'd love to go into some of these kind of smaller villages with the tribes and places like that. So, it's just, I think, not to go to Africa before I leave this planet would be a shame. So it's high on my list.
Then this obviously ties in your other love, basically, of landscape photography.
Yeah,
so
I'm very much a journalist. I shoot everything: landscapes, travels, street, do a bit of portraiture, whatever comes my way with the camera. I'm happy to shoot.
Yeah. For me, it's Cuba. It's always been a fascination of me, and I'd love to get the opportunity to get down there. I keep on asking my family, shall we go? And they all say no. So I'm still working on it. Your favourite city that you photographed in? For me, it's Stockholm. I was very fortunate on business again to go up to Stockholm. And really, my first visit to Stockholm was when I really got back into photography. That was around about nearly 10 years ago. I just found the people are just fantastic. The city is just superb with its architecture, and it's clean, and it's just a very, very decent way of life. It's expensive, mind you, but that's the city which is my favourite city. Paris is special, don't get me wrong, and obviously my home city, London, but Stockholm is probably my favourite city in Europe. How about you guys? Your favourite city that you have taken photographs in, Greg?
Again, I think I mentioned that Hong Kong for me is special, yeah. But it's again, it's probably not strictly photography. It's just, I think, the overall experience I had there. Like I say, I like Southeast Asia, and I love the food and the culture and all that. So for me, that's very special. So.
I thought you were going to say Hong Kong from your previous comment. Patricia, how about yourself? Is it back home?
If I think, like, since I've taken street photography, it's back home, and in Brazil would be Porto Seguro, Bahia, northeast of the country, because we have both sides, the beauty of the place, and then the street photography side of it, the essence of life. They're poorer people that do everything you can imagine on the streets, from lots of variety of work and handcrafts and so on. So if I think about a place that I have been after I started photographing on streets is Portugal, Bahia.
No, okay. And yourself, Susan, how travelled?
Well, Paris, of course, is just
Yeah.
it's so special and wonderful. If I had to say a place in the States, maybe Seattle.
Where, sorry?
Probably Seattle in the U.S.
Seattle.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
Love the Pacific Northwest. The people are great. Just the scenery's wonderful. Yeah, it's a fun area.
Interesting. It's funny, isn't it, when you think of the vastness of your country? Seattle doesn't hit me first. I mean, you think of New York and Chicago, obviously, and then you think about the West Coast with the Los Angeles and the San Francisco, but you were lucky enough to go down to Miami just a short while ago. I've been to Miami, as I mentioned to you, and there's loads to take there, but Seattle is not one which sort of pops out and says, it's a great place to go. It's amazing.
It's fun. I've never thought about Seattle before.
Funny, isn't it? It's one of those tucked up in the top left-hand corner there of the States, and everyone says it's a fantastic place to go to. Fraser likes it there. That's all I know. It's got to be one of my favourite comedy shows that's come out of the States, Fraser. Okay, we're at the point of the show where my regular viewers will know that I give my guests a selection of photographers for them to give me a one-word association. Well, it's a little bit different this time because I can't give 4 to each of these guys. So what we're going to do, because Hugo's dropped out, I'm going to give you 2 each. So get ready, because you've all been primed. We've all discussed the names, so let's get ready. And I'm going to just pick them out as we go. So the first one is this is going to be for you, Greg.
Oh no.
No, you'll be all right with this one. Zach Arias.
Colour.
Okay. Yeah, I really like Zach Arias's work, to be honest with you, especially what we've been seeing on YouTube with his Fuji advert's the wrong word, demonstration of using the Fuji equipment. So yeah, that's good. Patricia, Eric, Kim. Oh, she's gone. Where's she gone?
No,
Okay.
I'm here.
You're there. Oh, I can't see you. Oh, you're back.
No, I'm back.
Eric,
I
Kim.
ran away.
Come back, come back. Your first one is Eric Kim. Hello?
Doubtful.
Doubtful.
Mm-hmm.
This is a conversation opener. Why doubtful?
And probably mysterious because, to be honest, I really like what he writes, but he doesn't publish much of your photos. So from the time that I got to know him, I haven't seen very few photos of him. His work.
I think the thing with Eric is that he concentrates a lot on these video presentations on YouTube, and you see the photograph in the YouTube. I think, excuse my language here, I think he's a very ballsy photographer. He doesn't worry about going up to something. He's a little bit like Susan, actually. He goes up and just takes a photograph of something. It's not so much to say that you're. Sorry, forget the word association there, Susan. But you know what I mean. He's got some front. You know what I mean. Okay, next one. Vivian Meyer, Susan. Vivian Meyer.
Oh boy, one word.
One word.
Well, self-portraits. That's 2 words. Well, it's a hyphenated word.
It's hyphenated word. It'll count. Don't worry. I'll allow it. I'm the judge here.
What was the word? What was the word?
Self-portrait. Susan said.
Okay.
I've got to be honest with you here. When I first heard of this story of Vivian Meyer, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There was this lady looking after the kids, basically on her free time went out and took all this street photography, which was found. But then there was a very, very interesting podcast stroke YouTube by Ted Forbes. I don't know whether you guys watch him, The Art of Photography. and he did a very, very critique of Vivian's work. Nothing wrong with Vivian's work at all, but he had his query over the guys that were effectively deciding which images were shown of Vivian's work. And I think I started to think about it. There's some work there which I think, being a photographer, I think Vivian would have said, no, don't show that one. And I think we're now getting ourselves caught up in a problem where someone has got this vast amount of images, and it's becoming a little bit of a money-making machine. But don't get me wrong, her photographs are absolutely superb, and there's a fantastic story to be told there, if not a film to be made. I know we've had the BBC documentaries, but a proper Universal stroke MGM type film, I mean, that I'm sure is waiting to come out. But it's got me thinking about her work from Ted Forbes's program, which I found very interesting, enlightening, the way he described her work. So, Greg, the next one for you is William Klein.
William Klein, ooh, emotion.
Yes, very emotional photographer. Lives in Paris.
Right.
Amazing photography. His work. I saw an exhibition of his at the Tate Modern, beginning of middle part of last year, I think it was, along with Dido Moriyama, the other photographer which I mentioned earlier on, which no one knew, so we didn't have that one in our list. But a very, very good artist as well, along with his photography, and some of the captures that he's got is a great study of work. The last one, I'm going to go to Patricia. No, let's do the same photographer to the two ladies. There is a reason for this. Brassai, Patricia.
I have several words for him, and for now I'll choose Alive.
Yep. And Susan?
Boy. Well, maybe daring.
Yeah, very daring at times.
For his time.
Say again?
For his time frame, what he was doing, the night shots and everything.
That's right, because I was very lucky. I just bought a book, cost around about $10, of a Brassai book, and it was concentrating on Paris and Paris in the dark. That's sort of work, and all taken in the 20s and the 30s, and it's just amazing work when you consider the type of equipment that he would have been using in those days. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
And the word that I had for Brassai was atmosphere, and again, it was based on that Paris by Night series. So.
Yeah, no, that's a very good word, actually, atmosphere, because you look at his images, he does bring a lot of atmosphere to it in his work. That's very true. Now he's one of the old masters, which street photographers should really all look up and take a look at. Well, this has been great. I just wanted to thank you for joining me tonight. We're bang on schedule. It's just after 9 o'clock here in the UK. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Susan, for joining me. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and we're very fortunate that we're going to be in touch with one another on a regular basis through the Arcanum, and keep checking on what the other guys are doing, and sort of cajole them along a little bit, and sort of, come on, guys, keep coming, keeping getting involved more. So that'll be good in the future. So. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show this evening. And it's come to that time of the show where I have to sign off, unfortunately. And my sign off. It's leave your camera bag at home. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.